Hello and welcome to Health Coach Impact, the show which we spotlight health coaches from every single niche, all different areas in their businesses, both brand new and seasoned coaches. And I just want to thank you for tuning in today. And today's show, we are featuring Christi Cass. Christi is a seasoned health coach, and she's also a business coach for health coaches. And the reason why I have Christi on here is to have more of an understanding of what health coaching is, that health coaching is a real profession, and we do make money at health coaching. And also because of the successes that we have, we'll have other people being attracted to us. So, Christi, I am so excited to have you on the show today. Thank you for being here.
Thank you for having me. I am so excited to be here and to join you. And I love this mission and passion that you have to really uplift and expand the health coach community and health coach impact. So thank you for having me.
You're so welcome. So your story is really similar to mine. And that's why I think we connected, because you really had a passion for health coaching. You became a health coach in 2014. Mm-hmm. And then you, just in the last couple of years, you've transitioned into business coaching with health coaches. So let's go back to your original story of what actually got you into health coaching and a little bit of the background on there.
Yeah, so thanks for asking. I think what I see in so many health coaches, and I'm very similar in that I had my own health journey. And going through that personal healing journey, I learned a lot and ultimately wanted to share. So I turned 51 in a couple months, but around my 40th birthday, I was diagnosed with fibromyalgia, chronic fatigue. My hormone levels were complete, flatline. Hypothyroidism, multiple infections, bacterial and viral infections in my blood. I was just a complete, total hot mess. Very overweight, very unhappy, no energy. And I was 40 years old. I had young kids, and I didn't want that to be my life at all. And I was really blessed. It took me about a year to find a good doctor. I think anybody who's been in a health journey knows that part of the story.
Absolutely.
I went through a couple doctors that were just, here's your scripts, and finally found one who was really interested and passionate about getting to the root of my issues. And this doctor, the MD, so cool. This gentleman actually had healthy cooking classes every other Saturday for his patients for free at his office.
Wow.
How cool is that, right?
Yeah, that is. That's unusual.
Totally. Yeah. So he really empowered me as a patient. He empowered all of his patients to take control of their health. And he was more of a conduit. He was a support mechanism. He wasn't God. He wasn't, I have the prescription for you. It's okay. Here's your role in the healing process too. Mm-hmm. And it totally resonated with me. And I really took ownership of that process. And I did need some metabolic support. I did need some conventional support through that process, but it wasn't about a Band-Aid for the rest of my life. Mm-hmm. It was about, and it was very monitored to get me to full health, where I'm no longer, the only medication I'm personally on is a thyroid med. That's it. So it's awesome.
Oh gosh.
That was not the case 11 years ago.
Yeah, we are so alike in that way. 'Cause it sounds exactly like me, in that step. So yeah, awesome.
It was really powerful. And part of what, and so I just kind of naturally started sharing. My friends, I hid, when we're that sick and we're that uncomfortable in our own body and we don't recognize ourselves in the mirror, we hide, right? At least that was me. I hid a lot, and all of a sudden I'm becoming more visible. I'm coaching, helping to coach my daughter's volleyball team. Trust me, I'm not athletic. I had a good friend who was athletic, but I was, good little cheerleader helping the girls. But I became more and more active and in my own life and in my kids' lives. And it was so wonderful. And my friends were like, what are you doing? And oh my gosh, you look amazing. You look healthy. It wasn't about beauty. It was about, I looked healthy. I looked vibrant again. And it didn't happen overnight. It was absolutely a journey. So I had actually decided to go back and get a master's in holistic nutrition.
Mm-hmm.
And I was working on that, absolutely loving the schooling and the process. My son was a senior in high school, I guess, and my daughter was in middle school. And my daughter actually sustained a really significant concussion while I was still in school. And that was actually a 2-year healing journey for her. She had post-concussive syndrome, was in and out of the hospital multiple times. I mean, like for a week at a time. In a year. And at that point, I could no longer manage thesis term papers and the requirements of a master's degree. And I chose at that point to sort of backpedal and shift and get a certification. Mm-hmm. And I'm really glad I did, because at the rate I was going, and I was going to probably be my age now before I could even get started.
Right.
So I switched. I went to a year-long certification program, had a great experience there. I found my people. Mm-hmm. And I think that's something that I hear a lot from other health coaches. It's like, oh my gosh, I found my people. Like mm-hmm. people who want to talk about the same nerdy stuff I wanted to talk about. And it was so fun. And that was the beginning of my health coaching business and how I started. So that was a really, I guess, long story here, but it was really my health coach experience and expertise and ability to really support my clients was both through my personal journey and everything that I learned through my daughter's personal journey, which was significant. What I learned about thyroid function and healing and brain chemistry and you name it. There's a lot that happens to the body when you sustain a significant head injury. Yes. It was really that I had no idea. So I learned so much and was able to, at that point, really make profound impact out there with the clients that I worked with. So it was just, it was a process. It definitely wasn't an overnight experience for me.
Mm-hmm. Yes. And your story it's scary how it's so in congruence with what my story is too. I didn't go through the concussion, but I did have a daughter that she had was diagnosed as high functioning autistic. And so we went through that journey, and I was going for my bachelor's in nutrition at that time too. But I stuck with it. And I also was going through chemotherapy and some different issues in my own body. So, and then we had a huge move in between, but anyways, it's just wild how our stories are so alike and how you've impacted your society just by your story. And I think what people that are becoming health coaches or want to they want to become a health coach or they are a health coach, they lose the importance of what their story is.
Oh, so true. Mm-hmm. So true. And I that is such a pivotal point, Michelle, because I think to that point, they're so focused now outward. Like, how can I help? What can I do? Mm-hmm. And I love that point, actually. That is such an important part of the messaging, which is what I do a lot of work with health coaches on, in telling your story, because what does that do? Mm-hmm. Makes you real, makes you relatable, and also helps people to go, oh, she gets me. She understands what I'm going through.
Right. Exactly. And that is what makes health coaches, right? Because you get me and I get you. It's like we found our tribe with IIN, right? It's like we found our nerdy tribe, and now we're finding our audience to be able to pour out to at the same time, right?
Yeah, to really connect with. And I think that message is so powerful. And getting your messaging on target is so critical, because if you're not crystal clear on that, if you're not crystal clear on who your ideal client is, like you can picture them. And I'm like that for both my health coaching business and my health coach support business. Like I literally have a visual. I know exactly who it is I want to call into me. And that's who I speak to. And that's how we're not white noise. Because if we're just talking like generic stuff and we want to be everything to everybody, because truly we could help so many different people, right? I think that's where a lot of health coaches, especially new health coaches, even health coaches who've been in business for a while, get stuck, because it's so hard to narrow and dial it in because they don't want to leave anybody out.
Yes.
And it's so counterintuitive, right? Because, you want to cast this wide net, but when you cast a wide net, there's lots of holes in that net, but the net's got to be really big versus if you have a little mesh, right? And you're really targeted, you're going to connect with those people who are ideal, that are going to be exactly who you love to work with, who want to work with you as well. And you're going to repel. I talk about magnet, a magnet attracts and repels, and people are like, oh, well, I don't want to repel anybody. I'm like, yes, you do. Yes, you do. It's an important part of the process because you don't want everybody. You only want your ideal client. That's who you want to magnetize to you. And that's all about the messaging. And your story, to your circling back here, to your point, is such a critical part of that.
Yes, it is. It is. Now, going back to your story, now, when you were health coaching, you're in the midst of everything. How did you, I know there's this theory out there with some health coaches, right? That they're like, oh, well, health coaching, you don't really make money at, but if you go into business coaching, you're going to make more money. I didn't find that true. For me, I did very, very well with health coaching locally. I was able to really hone into my market there, and online I struggled, and then I honed it in, right? And it is your messaging. It's all about your messaging. And so I found I did make money at health coaching. That was sustainable for me. How was it for you? How was your story in transitioning? Because I know you do very, very well just as a health coach. So how was that transition into business coaching also for you?
It was so organic and unintended. That's what I like to tell people. When I was at IIN, that was not what I thought I would be doing. Like that was not part of the process. Now personally, I had a really strong background in advertising and marketing, in sales, in business. So that was like, I call it my previous life before kids, right? I worked in advertising and radio sales and marketing and things like that. So I kind of knew, and I was a journalism major. So that was just part of who I was. And so I had some of those innate skills when I came into health coaching and building my business. But I'll tell you, taking your business online is a whole different ball of wax.
Oh, it is. It's
right? It's totally, yeah. and it's ever changing. It's ever changing. So the way I kind of naturally evolved to where I incorporated business mentorship and coaching with actual health coaches was, I have to dial it back like quite a few years here. Part of my health coaching practice and part of where I really honed my craft and honed my skills as a health coach was in working with other practitioners, was getting client referrals from doctors and other practitioners. And that, honestly, that started with my daughter at the clinic where we finally got her well and worked with the right, we found the right practitioners for her. And I won't even go into the long story here, but that's where that initial light bulb went off. Of, these doctors, literally, he gave me a one sheet of what to do with my daughter nutritionally, which was cool that that was important to them. But I looked at my husband, it was like AIP on steroids. Like if he would have handed this to my mother, most of my friends, my sister, they would have been like, are you kidding me? I don't know what to do with this. They would have thrown it out the window. But I knew what to do with that. I got creative. She was compliant because she wanted to get well. And she made amazing strides so quickly that the doctor looked at me at an appointment and goes, what did you do? I was like, I was so nervous because he's looking at her like, he's like, what did you do? Like, I did exactly what you told me to do. He goes, nobody does that. It's too hard. I'm like, well, let me tell you what I do. He had never heard of health coaching. By the way, his wife is now a health coach.
Oh,
so
awesome.
Cool. I love that story. She's an amazing health coach, and she works with him in his practice. But that was the beginning. He literally took me by the hand. He goes, you've got to meet the other doctors in my practice. And went and that was the beginning of that process. And in my work with doctors, and they were working this first clinic that I worked with really complex cases, obviously head injuries, early onset Alzheimer's, autoimmune disease, really complex stuff. So I started creating protocols based on what the doctors told me they wanted to do, so that over time, it just simplified communication. Medical assistant would send me a referral. Here's what Dr. So-and-so wants done. He would be copied on it if I had any questions. And it just simplified the process because we had clear-cut protocols that I designed and added things to. So I had a health coach friend of mine who had a client that had, I don't remember if it was insulin resistance or type 2 diabetes. And she's like, don't you have something for blood sugar? I'm like, oh yeah, let me send it to you. She calls me the next morning. I'm actually driving home from dropping my daughter off at school. And she's like, do you have any idea what you have here? I'm like, what are you talking about? She goes, Christi, this is amazing. She's like, health coaches need this stuff. It had never occurred to me. I had at that point probably 9 different protocols. I mean, we had all sorts of stuff, and I would layer them and all this stuff. Long story short, I took about 9 months because I felt like if I'm going to share this with other health coaches, we got to make sure everything's, number one, scientifically based, researched. I hired recipe developers, like the whole 9 yards, and beautiful. You know, we all like things to be beautiful. And so I created health coach protocols. And that was the beginning of me leaning towards this, because what happened when I launched that in 2017, I got great response from folks who purchased those. And I was very humbled and grateful for that. But then they started reaching out to me and asking me, well, you know, can you help me with my business? And I was like, well, sure. You know, so I just started it just kind of evolved. I started doing one-on-ones, and then I'm seeing the same thing over and over. I'm still doing my health coaching practice over here. And then it's like, I'm seeing the same thing over and over. So I create one group program. The market changes, online world changes a little bit. I've created another program to really kind of shift so that what I'm teaching is current, all of that. So it's been just kind of a really natural, organic process. And frankly, a lot of fun, you know, and I from our previous conversation, I know this is where your heart is too, that, you know, it's so amazing to do the work as a health coach. And it's humbling to see people who show up, who are coachable, have positive, you know, shifts in their health and their health journey. But to be able to take it to that next level, where now we're helping other health coaches help more people. What does that do? That's the ripple effect. Like totally action, right? Where now we're helping that impact is broader and deeper, and to be just even a little part of that, a little pebble part of that is really special. And is part of, honestly, what gets me up every day to do what I'm doing and makes it so much fun.
Yeah, I completely agree. When I see the health coaches that I'm working with reaching out and actually attracting the people that they're meant to attract, it's like, there's no way that I could have attracted those people, you know, but because of my experience and their experience, we're able to get so much of a wider berth to be able to just, affect the world. It's like, that's why we have, Health Coach Impact here. It's undescribable. It is. I mean, because it's so much bigger than just you and just I, right? It's like, I'm excited for our audience here to be able to hear you, because now they know that you have these amazing programs for health coaches that are very specific in protocols and things that they can be able to implement, and they don't have to be taking all that extra time, away from what their passion is too, because they can plug right into what you've already created because of your story, because of where you came from. And it's something like I teach my kids. It's like, you can either learn from experience or you can learn from wisdom. And the wisdom of others will always put you ahead more quickly.
So true.
So I feel like with the seasoned health coaches that I'm interviewing and bringing on the show, I love that we are seasoned and we're able to pass that on to other health coaches. So that way their journey is shortened just a little bit, but their story remains intact.
Well, and I think what I see happen so often is, I like health coaches and coaches like you and I, Michelle. We're like these big heart-centered entrepreneurs, right? We just want to help people. We want to make a difference. We want to create impact. And so many health coaches graduate from whatever certification program they went to, and they're so excited and they can't wait. And it's like they come out and they hit a brick wall. And they get completely overwhelmed because they know health. They understand that many of them, that's their gift. And that the coaching piece is their gift. The business stuff, it's like, I didn't sign up to have to learn how to market myself, how to create a signature program, and how to do messaging, and, even what becomes simple eventually is very overwhelming in the beginning. And it was overwhelming for me too, like email service providers and landing pages. And I was like, oh my gosh. I mean, nobody prepared I have met no one who was prepared for that over the plethora. And heavens to Betsy's, there are so many health coaching certification programs out there. I had no idea how many there are. I have not met anyone who has graduated from one who was prepared for the business of health coaching.
Exactly. Because there's so many pieces in there, and it's another schooling. It's a completely separate schooling to be able to learn and then not get lost in it.
Yes. Oh, that's such an important point, to not get lost in, go down those rabbit holes. How easy is that, right?
Right. Exactly. I had one health coach, matter of fact, just the other day, she was putting together her programs and putting together all these technical things and all this, and I'm like, okay, this is all fine and good. We need to hire a virtual assistant, whether it's an intern or someone that you can do health coaching with them, as a complimentary thing. Let's barter. Let's get some bartering here. Find somebody, attract somebody that needs your health coaching, but has the skills that you are required for your business. And let's start making that happen now. You're at that point. And I think that as a business coach, a lot of health coaches don't, think about those types of things because they think that they have to do it all. They think that, oh, I'm a small business owner. I have to do it all. I can't afford it. I can't,
They're so afraid to invest.
Exactly.
And I think that's a business mindset issue.
Very
that is really prevalent in the health coaching industry. I'm going to come out of school and I spent money on my certification. Okay, now I'm going to just put up my shingle and I'm going to have a business. And really not taking the business side seriously. That there is an investment. So you invested to hone your craft, to learn the skills, to learn the nutrition, whatever your focus is as a health coach. You've honed that. And how many other courses do they take on gut health and and toxins and thyroid or whatever. And there's some great courses, which people can also get caught up in taking and never really start their business. But
yes,
they forget about, and they think that they shouldn't have to invest, like they should be able to watch like free webinars and inexpensive or free like PDFs, and that's going to give them what they need. And that's such a mindset disconnect of, if you had to invest for this side, why wouldn't you have to invest for this side?
exactly.
And it doesn't have to be tens of thousands of dollars. And mind you, I literally am working with a coach right now who has probably spent, she's told me all the programs she's taken, and she's been in business for 2.5 years. She's probably spent about $25,000. She has invested.
Wow.
She has yet to have a paying client.
Oh my.
Yeah.
It's a challenge.
And what's fascinating, and we're just in like our second week together, but we've already dialed some things in. She's like, oh my gosh. And we're not talking $5,000. You know what I mean? It's like, these are things that these bigger programs should have taught you. But what happened is, like many people, she went for the super big program and she skipped all that foundational stuff.
Exactly.
And she got overwhelmed and she got lost because there were 50, 100, 200 people in the program. She got lost. She got behind, never quite brought everything to fruition because it was just too much.
Exactly.
Versus step by step, let's get that foundation laid before we try to go create funnels and all this other stuff, which, yes, that's great. Those are advanced strategies, folks. We don't come out of school and start a funnel.
Exactly. Exactly.
Exactly. First.
Right. We have to build those relationships first.
Yes.
We build our audience first. We, we actually find those people that are the people that are meant to hear our message.
Well, you've got to test your message. You've got to find what works that actually attracts your ideal client, which, by the way, you have to figure out who that is.
Exactly.
Right? So you've got to test those things. I was talking to another health coach, it was yesterday actually, who kind of in the same position. Really, she's been in business for a while, but hasn't really done anything, is still struggling. And she's like, well, I really want to automate. I'm like, before we can automate, you got to make sure what you're doing works. So to do that, you've got to have the foundation. You have to work with those clients, have success. You automate that success. You don't jump into automation because there's this disconnect. And I think a lot of that's the slick marketing that's out there of passive income. And I hate that word passive income because there's nothing passive about passive income. There isn't. You worked really hard to create that passive income.
Exactly. We have to have, in order to build the foundation, you have to get down and dirty.
Yeah.
You do. I mean, if you think about just construction wise, when they're building a foundation, they're down in the dirt, they're getting everything, cleared out. Let's make sure that it's stable. And then you start building, and then then all of a sudden it looks like, oh, there's a building up. Well, it started in the dirt.
And I love that analogy because my husband and I are actually building a house right now. And it's on about 2 acres, and it was all wooded. So what did we have to do? We had to clear the land. We had to clear, not all the land, but we had to clear the land for the house, right? And then we had to make sure that the soil, the foundation was good. And we actually had to bring some soil in. I'm in Louisiana. I want to make sure I'm well above sea level.
Oh, yeah.
So we had to bring some soil in. And then we had to bring in our foundation. We had to cure it. And we needed it to be really stable. And then we started building up from there. And, it's actually been a really fun analogy watching our house be built and thinking about a business. It's that is so resonates with me because it's true. Right. It's really, really true.
Right. And I think, when we go to health coaching school and we are just pumped with all this information, we're shown our dream house. We're shown, the Pinterest board. We're just like, oh yes, this is, and we just want to see more of it. We want to, look at all the recipes. We want to look at everything. And, it's like, oh, how is this going to help someone? How is this going to help someone? So we see the vision, we see it and we feel it. And we're going in and out of, all these different conversations with other health coaches. And it's like, yeah, we're going to impact the world. We're going to, really, really make a change. And then we step outside the doors, right? And it's real life.
And you have a wooded lot.
Exactly. And it's like, okay, what do we do here? And that's where business coaches like you and we have the blueprint, and we can, and I mean, you have multiple pieces that come into building your business. I know I have multiple mentors that help me with my business, and I have a support team behind me that I can go to about my business. And I have networked with other health coaches like you that, we can glean from each other's experiences and go, oh yeah, no, that didn't work. Oh yeah, this might be something that would work, and being able to utilize these different things. But at the same time, it's a team effort. And health coaches tend to get lost in, it's just me,
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and you can really easily become isolated too.
Oh yes.
I was talking to another health coach. It was probably last week, and she was describing her experience thus far. She's like, it's like there's this puzzle, and it's like 1,000-piece puzzle, and somebody threw it out on the coffee table. But a few pieces got stuck under the sofa, and I don't know what they are, where they are, and I don't even know how they fit in, but I can't make the picture. It won't come together because she's missing those. And I thought that was such a great analogy.
Yes.
Because that's, and I remember feeling that way, even with my background, right? Even with my background and having a husband who, has been in business and all of that, who was very supportive and could guide me from the business side of things. It was still a whole different ballgame.
It is.
And being an entrepreneur, a solopreneur, can be very isolating, and finding communities where you can connect and find and create momentum is really powerful.
Yes, it definitely is. It definitely is. And that's a little bit about what Health Coach Impact is also about, is creating that community. We're in our baby steps of creating that community and being able to reach out to other health coaches. I mean, the reason why I decided to go with IIN coaches is not only because I am an IIN coach, that's where the school that I went to, but we have over 40,000 of us alumni out there. And I'm like, I could be doing just IIN coaches for the rest of my life, and reaching out and hearing stories and being there with that community. I know that it's going to expand from there. And at the same time, the core of my people are IIN coaches, and not saying that other health coaching certifications aren't legit. They are. There's some amazing ones that I've even wanted to take. But the timing just isn't there. And there's some IIN coaches that have developed their own health coaching, certifications, and they do an amazing job. So having this community, just like you said, is so important as a health coach, and finding the right community for you is just as important.
And there are a lot of different communities out there. And don't be afraid to go test drive a few and see where it feels like home, and where you connect with the leader of that community and with the other participants and other folks in that community. I think that that's really an important part of that process.
Yes, absolutely. So just kind of coming to an end here, Christi, I think this is a perfect way to kind of wrap this up. So how can the people that are listening to us right now, how can they reach you, be able to get involved in your community, be able to talk with you, and really glean from your expertise?
Well, thank you. And thank you for the opportunity to be here and to share. Folks, you can find me. My Facebook business page is Christi Cass. That's Cass. You can find me on Twitter, Christi Cass as well. And I do have 2 different groups. I have a group specifically for those of you who are wanting to get healthier. It's called Real Healthy Women Sisterhood. And it's a wonderful space for women who are looking to get healthy and be more vibrant. And my group that is specifically for health coaches and wellness practitioners, it is a very safe space, by the way. I look at every single request that comes in because I don't want a bunch of other people coming in and really changing the environment there. But it's Health Coach Success Mastermind, and we have such an amazing supportive group of health coaches. We've got over 3,000 that are having fun. I do free challenges in there, and I talk a lot about not just the inspiration of growing your business, but really the foundations and the planning and the strategy, and do a lot of really fun things in there as well. So wherever you are in your journey, I would love to have you join me and welcome you into either community.
Absolutely. So reach out to Christi if you're, resonating with what she's saying and all of the different experiences that she has. Check out, her Facebook groups and, all the different options that she has for you. And if you are looking to become a health coach and you want to know more about what this whole world is, somewhere on this page or on the YouTube page, there is a link for the Institute for Integrative Nutrition where you can take a free class and be able to experience just a little bit about what we are and who we are and how we learn as health coaches. So I look forward to bringing you another episode of Health Coach Impact. Thank you, Christi, again for being our amazing guest today.
Thank you for being our amazing host, Michelle.
Oh, thank you. So again, if you are interested in health coaching and you want someone to talk to, you have Christi here, you have me here, Michelle Landry. You can reach me at healthcoachimpact at gmail.com. You can see our show, Health Coach Impact, on YouTube at Health Coach Impact, or you can also get in touch with me on our fan page, which is also Health Coach Impact on Facebook, or you can also reach me on LinkedIn at Michelle Landry. So until next time, everyone, have an amazing day, and I hope that this whole experience has really, really given you a little bit more of an insight to what health coaching is, who we are, how we help, and how we actually rock that ripple effect. Thanks so much, guys.